Also, I would encourage you, obviously everybody knows the term to be your own media, make your own media, alternative media. It is fractured into millions of pieces, but about 2 years ago, if you look at the different Google numbers and different media think tanks that have done studies on it, and different institutions that have looked at it, that alternative media about 2 years ago surpassed all what you call dominant mainstream or old line dinosaur media. So dinosaur media was up here. I remember 10 years ago, you talked to reporters, they'd be on incredible power trips. TV reporters thought they were God. It was all about their own personal power and towing the line and being known and being seen. And to have that power, it's some kind of little petty movie star, I guess you could say. They would do almost anything and say anything to kiss up to the defense contractor corporations, the military-industrial complex that own them. Now you don't see that arrogance because the mainline media is laying people off. Depending on which set of numbers you look at, in the last 10 years, newspaper circulation is down around 60%. Now they like to every year say, oh, we were down 6%, we were down 9%, we were down 4%. And different institutions put out different numbers. But we know this, there is a massive decline in newspaper circulation, and most of your big newspaper chains have been caught in scandals, inflating their circulation numbers on top of that. So they're way down even with massive inflation and false numbers being put out by them. Conversely, 2 years ago, alternative media on the real hard graphs. These aren't Arbitron ratings for radio. These aren't Nielsen for television that just give you a kind of a guesstimate or a rough picture. These are crystal clear pictures with the cookies, with the tracking systems on the internet, which is a double-edged sword that shows us dramatic dive in mainstream media and a radical, straight-up curve explosion for alternative media, and it's only accelerating. The upward trend is accelerating for alternative media, mainstream media, old line media, the fake media, the fraud media, the diseased media, the cancerous media is dying. So I would encourage all of you to go out now. Don't wait. Start your own website. Start your own web page. And fine, go have some MySpace account if you want, but it's more important to have your own web page, your own name, your own information, and it doesn't matter if your story is about, go adopt a dog, or if your story is about prison corruption and the things that people are going through in these institutions. As long as you're doing something that you think is important and that is important to you, and as long as you're trying to tell the story as best you can, and as long as you are attempting to represent the truth to the people, if you build it, they will come. And regardless, it's a good exercise in your own life to just take those first steps and start creating your own media, because it helps you look at your own self, and it helps you to basically become a bigger person, in my opinion. It's a focusing tool to more closely, consciously look at the world. Many years ago, I started doing an Access TV show. In fact, at first I just volunteered and was a guest on a few of the shows. And then by 1995, I was doing my own TV show. And I still do that Access TV show. I mean, I go down there, there's no commercials, nobody tells me what I can say. I don't have to worry about dealing with sponsors. I don't have to worry about anything. And I just go down there, turn on the lights, and got my one-man crew, sometimes a two-person crew down there, and we just do the show, and we just cover the news and analyze the news, and I give mainly my opinion on it, and then we do a lot of original research, and we'll also present those reports from time to time. And frankly, I do it so much, the main problem I face is that I have to keep myself from falling asleep while I'm doing it. I talk so much, I do so much media that it's almost like breathing. So that's also, but most of you will never run into that position where that's another challenge of the alternative media. You can reach tens of millions of people, and my website reaches about 4 million people, all 9 of them together. That's individual visitors, not hits as you hear. And my radio show reaches about 2 million people a day. And just on web streams, we're #1 on the internet, the most listened to radio show on the internet by every major index and system like Shoutcast that are out there. And to do that, I never set about with some plan. I was hearing mainstream media. I had read a lot of history books. I had read autobiographies by world leaders. They said they were setting up a world government. They said that it was in the best interest that we all be dumbed down and controlled and turned into serfs. And then I would turn on the news and they'd say there's no world government, there's no plan for a world government, there's no plan for an American Union, this is insane code for hurting the children. I mean, just really base level propaganda aimed at the people. Just, it's a lie. Well, no, it's not a lie. They're saying it. I can go to the UN's own website. I can see this. I can read UN publications. And it was really just a process, and I'm constantly growing, I'm nobody special, of just learning and researching. And so I started the Access TV show, I got a local radio show, I got a syndicated radio show. Simultaneously, in 1996, started making my first documentary. I finished it in 1997, America Destroyed by Design. And I've made 15 films since then, and each one does get better. And then we also have more money each time, so it gets better. And the new one I'm making, tentatively, is going to be named Prison Planet or Endgame. I'm not quite sure, but that will be out in August. And the key here is, I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's like somebody who owns their own business instead of working for somebody else. When you're an entrepreneur, you want to work harder, and when you know that there's corruption and bad things happening, you want to work harder. And so again, I would just challenge you to not wait, to go out, to go down into East Austin, over where the facilities are while it's still there. I had to sue Access Television, and their director went to prison last year. I remember him calling us conspiracy theorists, and we go down to the Telecommunications Commission, City Council, and I'd already sued them, and I'd gotten their corporate minutes, and I had the fraud going on, and people kept calling us conspiracy theorists and crazy people. But the director, who got 40-something years in prison, commuted down, I think, 9 years. It's not a conspiracy theory now; it's a conspiracy fact that they stole $340-something thousand. And there's a lot more than that. There's other people involved. And God willing, we're going to get them too. Some of it went up so high in the city, though, the investigation was killed. The police told us. But so I fought for that institution, and I hope you go down there. And I spent a lot of money suing them and PIs because that's my mission. And this is the birthplace of Access TV. It started here 34 years ago, and it's gotten the most awards of any access facility in the country. That doesn't mean it's a cakewalk. It's kind of like government. Some of the bureaucrats there are friendly, some of them aren't. But I suggest you go down there right now and use that venue, because Congress is going to shut it down in about 3.5, 4 years. In 2011, I don't see it being there anymore. But because I can certainly fight some local bureaucrats, but by myself I have a lot of trouble fighting Congress. And that's the power of the alternative media, is that its information spreads virally, though, and if an idea is good enough and captures enough people's imaginations, then you get whole storms of people who are now awake doing their own research and getting involved in an issue. And that's where we could affect change in Congress and keep them from shutting down Access Television. So I challenge you to go down to Access Television here in Austin, Texas, or wherever you live around the country. They've shut down about 35% of the access facilities around the country in just the last few years, trying to shut down that venue of alternative media and a community voice. But I suggest people watching all over the country, while it's still there, to not wait, because it's still got large audiences, even in small towns per capita, still has large audiences on the basic cable system. And I would challenge all of you out in Austin, Texas, to come down and do Access Television shows. And there are something like 25 different truth, patriot, libertarian, genre, alternative media talk show hosts down there right now. And many of them I know never intended, many people that listen to me and came out and got shows because it was that first foot in the door, never knew that they'd end up writing columns for magazines that reach millions of people, like Bob Dacey, or filling in on national radio shows. Many of them have now made award-winning films. Because again, I went down to Access TV because I wanted to go, hey, there's a plan to take your rights and set up a world government. The media is saying it's not true, but here are the documents. And here's where you can get them. Go to the library.